All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cutco Mike here, my knife guy, Mike Dowd, Michael Andrew Dowd, and I want to share a mission, a vision, and the story of what has unfolded over 17 great years with Vector Marketing selling Cutco cutlery. So, if you know me, you know my blood type is Cutco positive, and what that means is there's nothing more than what I love is helping people get Cutco. And I want to take you down a story of who I am and what I'm about, and share with you what this mission is for, right? So, my name's Mike Dowd, and I grew up in Chicago, Broadview, Illinois, born in Loyola Hospital, and I never thought I would be a professional knife salesman. I wanted to be a center fielder in Yankee Stadium and be a baseball player, and I played baseball my whole life. Grew up, my dad was a t-ball coach, Sunday school teacher. I was a Catholic altar boy, and I was going places, right? I was into art, photography, drawing, and I was ready to take on the world. And I got my first job at Kmart selling VCRs and video games, #1 warranty salesman. And then I got a job at Sports Authority, and I did great there, #1 warranty salesman for bikes and gym equipment. And then one of the other workers got fired for stealing paintball guns. And they interviewed everybody, and they said, "What do you know? What have you done?" And the religious Catholic boy in me confessed everything I've ever done. I was drilling bowling balls, and I would snack on a couple of the return candy bars in back. And I said, I used to eat some of the candy bars that were sent back for return, and I was like, I don't know, 17, 18 years old, and I just came clean. And they said, well, because you stole candy bars, we have to fire you. So I got fired summer of 2004, and my buddy James Vaccaro was selling Cutco and sold a bunch of Cutco One scholarships and said, hey, they're doing a training. If you go to training, I'll give you $50. And I come from a blue-collar background. My mom's a Polish immigrant. She taught me how to work hard. My dad's blue collar was a printer, a custodian, maintenance guy at a school district. And I said, well, I'll try it out. And I'll take that $50 and I'll see where it takes me. And at the time, I didn't have a car, so I borrowed my mom's 94 Mazda Protege with spinner hubcaps. And at the time, you had to borrow money to get a sample kit for $150. So I said, Mom, borrow me $150 and I'll pay you back. So I went out, and I got my high school directory, Riverside Brookfield, and I said, well, I'm gonna be the best I can be. And at the time, I wanted to be a baseball player, but I got cut in college, and I was going to community college, and I said, well, I'm gonna see where this takes me. So I had my church directory, St. Eulalia. You guys remember these old directories? And here's a picture of our family here, the Dowd family. And I was going to be the greatest knife salesman ever to sell Cutco, right? That's what my thought was. So I went 1 for 11, and my dad bought a hunting knife, and I gave him a pizza cutter for free, and I was ready to quit. I went in the office. I was expecting to get paid like $14 an appointment, and I had it all calculated. I'm going to get $160, and apparently you're not supposed to do group appointments, and I had a big group and family, and that you're supposed to do one-on-one. So I ended up getting paid only 10% off of my sales, which was like $14. So I went in there swearing, growing up Chicago, blue collar and rough. I said, this is an effing scam. And Ray Lukes, I was the assistant manager at the time, pulled me in the hallway, and he said, hey man, you can be great, and you can go places. And I was ready to quit. And he said, come back in here. And he gave me a second chance. He also told me to simmer down, young whippersnapper. And Justin Donald, who's one of my best friends and best man, he said, we're going to get you paid, and you just got to do it the right way, right? And I went out to learn this thing called the secret weapon, which is like a special you can do and give people a deal. And I went out and I sold a homemaker set. And then I sold another homemaker set. And I won a baseball trophy they gave me at a meeting. And I was a #1 salesman. And I have my old manual here, my original Cutco manual from 2004. And I like to save things. My wife will say I'm a mild hoarder, which probably takes after my dad. And this is my original sales manual from Cutco. And ever since I won that trophy, that baseball trophy, which I think I gave away with my office, I never looked back. And then I went on to just go after it and win a trophy after a trophy after a trophy. And it wasn't for the money. It was because I always wanted to be a great athlete and a baseball player, but I never made it. But Cutco and Vector gave me that thrill of teamwork, sales, achievement. So that first year, I think I have it somewhere, I ended up selling. These are what we call as Academy of Champions. It's like our year-end banquet. It's our Academy Awards. And some of you know me back in the day. That was me there with my old hair. And I sold $100,000 in 2005. And at the time, that was like a big deal. Only 20, 25 people in Cutco ever did that. And I was 19, 20 years old. And I won a sword. So I'm going to walk you down memory row here. So I won this. This is one of my swords. I gave one of my other ones to my dad. This cool sword that you would see like in a Knight movie or Braveheart. And that back then was the achievement of achievements. If you can win a sword in Cutco, you've made it, right? So I won a sword when I was 19, 20 years old. Sold $100,000. Hold on a real quick second. I won a scholarship. So I was an All-American scholarship winner, wherever I am, somewhere up here with the long, shaggy hairdo. And ever since then, I said, wow, this company is amazing. The product is amazing. I met people that have had it for years and years. And then I went on a mission. I said, if I can do 100,000 as a 19, 20-year-old, I can do it again. But the crazy thing is, at the time I was in Chicago, and my manager moved to St. Louis. So I moved to St. Louis. And I had no customers. I had nobody. I knew nobody. So I went to the office and I started calling old receipts. And literally I would phone until my ear would bleed. Like not literally, but it would be so red that people would think my ear was bleeding because I would be at the office when no one was there. And I would call people, say, hey, this is Mike from Cutco. We're going to do sharpening next week in your area. And I called thousands and thousands of people in St. Louis. And I built my base in St. Louis just doing sharpenings. No one I knew. I just showed up and took a chance. And I sold another 100,000. So then to fast forward, I said, well, this doesn't excite me anymore, so I'm going to be a manager. So lo and behold, I signed up to be a Vector manager, which basically was my college university. So I recruited 1,000 kids in St. Louis. And the number one thing that I achieved from that was I sent a letter in the mail to thousands of kids saying, come and try this job selling Cutco, Vector Marketing. And this wonderful woman shows up. At the time, I did not know she would be my wife, but Rachel Schaefer shows up, 19 years young, and I was 24. And at the time, I broke up with another little Vector relationship that was pretty temporary, but we broke up on a trip in where were we at? Prague. So talk about that. I remember, and it takes two to make it, two to break it. So it's not all her, it was me too. But I remember grabbing my Bible and reading Proverbs and just really just kind of surrendering and getting true to myself. And I said, I'm never going to date anybody in Vector again. So long story short, Rachel shows up and she was off of a bad relationship too in high school and just wanted to work. And I wanted to work. And it wasn't all about love and fairy tale endings. But we have this thing called a 10K fast starter. So if you're in Vector, it's basically where somebody sells $10,000 in Cutco. So this is Rachel's original first 10 days on Cutco. And she had 52 appointments and had 28 sales. So her averages weren't as good as mine. But she ended up selling $10,250. And out of 1,000 people I've ever trained, she's the only one that I've ever had achieve that. So at first, it was all business, but then, you grow on each other. And then we started talking a little bit more and having coffee and saying, well, let's hang out more. And long story short, after a few months, I ended up asking her out. And then she became my assistant manager and recruited people. Then she went on to a few other jobs. And then, a few years later, I proposed to her in New York City, and we got engaged. So then Where am I at? So we're at 2010, 2011. And at that point, I've recruited a lot of people. And think about, you have kids, right? You have your kids, your flesh and blood, and you can deal with them and patient. But when you have reps that get paid to sell knives, and you got to call them and motivate them, and they're not as motivated as you, and you're naturally a wired winner, go-getter, it took a toll on me because I love the thrill of the sale and selling to customers. So I said, I'm going to go back and sell Cutco. This is the end of 2010, and I'm gonna be the best, most branded rep that gives the best deals, the best service, the best fun, that's remembered forever, that I can build a legacy that someday I can pass down to my children. So when I went back, I didn't burn any bridges. I closed my office professionally. And I still sell to customers that were my reps or their parents. Just this week, I did sharpenings to old reps and customers now that are in their 30s and 40s, which is pretty crazy. So I achieved about $3 million in sales as a manager and 1,000 reps trained, which was a huge achievement. But for me, it was really where I grew up and learned about life. So then I went back and I went to achieve something called the Cutco Rolex. And in Cutco, if you sell a certain amount, they give you a Cutco Rolex. It's a Rolex that they engrave on it with Cutco or Vector. And as a manager, I always wanted that, but it was $1 million. And the most I ever did was $500,000 as a manager. And I always fell short, and I always felt like I was underperforming. So that first year as a manager, I just said, someday I'll get that. So when the rep level came out, it was $225,000. My first year back as I was 25, 26. I went after it. I just called everybody I knew, and I just showed up, and I served, and I sold, and I sharpened, and I served, and I sold, and I sharpened. We did $230,000, and I won a Rolex. And this is actually, I'll tell you a story, but this is my second one, because the first Rolex I won, it kind of became my idol, and I just got so consumed by it. And it became my identity, that I felt that the only way to be successful is to have things. And I was a little bit more egotistic and more just about me and my success and myself. And success, you need to be wired to achieve, but you also could be prideful. And I was prideful, and it wasn't the true self that I grew up to be, and the new born-again self I learned to be. So to fast forward, I was selling at Scott Air Force Base. I met this wonderful person named Larry Lacefield, who is selling Lacefield pianos. So if you're in St. Louis, his family owns Lacefield pianos. And he came over to me and he said, "Hey, I have a Cutco pocket knife, but do you know who Jesus is?" I said, "Yeah, I'm an altar boy, a Catholic." And he said, "Well, do you know the story of Jesus?" I said, "Yeah, follow your 10 commandments and you go to heaven." And he said, "Well, I tell you what, come to this Bible study. We're planning a church, and I'm leaving my career as a professional salesman of 20 years, and I'd like for you to come to a Bible study." And I said, "Well, I've been to those. My dad was a CCD teacher." And I pushed him off the first time, which we all have done before. I'm sure if people invited you to places. So then a couple months later, I saw him again, and same chipper self. He said, "Come and see me." And then me and Rachel at the time were engaged, and I was doing well. I think I had another $300,000 a year. I was doing great, and just living a good life, right? But the thing is, we were living together, premarital, doing things that the Bible and God tells you not to do. And there was tension. There was me just on the road, shows. I wasn't checking in, showing her love and passion. And I was just kind of consumed with life. So we got to this Bible study in Mitchell, which is next to Granite City. There's 8 of us. We're eating lasagna and learning about Jesus. And I just felt this Holy Spirit. So some of you might call it a gut instinct. I call it the Holy Spirit. And at the time, I was doing great. I was making good money. I was young, having fun, achieving. Nothing, no drugs or bad sex, alcohol. Just doing some things that you shouldn't be doing if you want to get married the right way. And I was selling kind of for the wrong reasons, more for things and achievement and pride, but not for purpose and passion and helping people. So they were talking about they needed a sound system for a church, and it was $8,000. And at the time, the Rolex was valued at $8,000. And I just Rachel, I said, don't stop me because I know you will, because you know what this watch meant to me in the past. And I took off my original watch that I won from Cutco, and I was crying, and I said, Larry, I said, I don't know what you will do with this, but I know you'll touch more people with this watch than I will ever touch. And I gave him my Rolex that I won from Cutco in 2012. And at that time, I just felt a new sense of just the Holy Spirit come over me. And I was lifted from a lot of things like pride and ego and things and idols and money. And it was a hard decision, but it was the right decision. And what's great is we've been a part of that church, and we've been helping people and seeing people come to Christ and just seeing people forgiven. And it's been great, you know. And the greatest thing from that moment is I was set free from things that really held me back to be the true me. The people that know me now, you see the newer side of Cutco Mike, but there was a side of me that was just about me, and that really set me free. So the great thing is that church now is running about 300 to 500 people a Sunday. 1,000 people a year have accepted Christ. I think they baptized, I don't have all the numbers, but 200 people a year have been baptized. So in about 8 years, people have been greatly impacted. And I always say I'm a cheerful giver because none of this stuff is mine. It's all God's, right? We're just stewards. And whether you believe that or not, hey, we all have a date with destiny, and I want my soul to be in heaven with Jesus and everybody else who's saved by Christ. So to move forward, this 2013-14, Rachel and I, we ended up breaking up. And I was so consumed by goals and myself, and Rachel wasn't getting the love she needed, and we actually broke up. So we had a separation for about 3 months where I just surrendered, and I got off of Facebook, which is crazy, right? I'm on Facebook 7 times a day posting, but I got clear and I got free, and I just kind of surrendered, and I just got on my hands and knees and prayed, and I was going to travel the world and be young and single and free. And God just put a sense of forgiveness over me, which is why Matthew West's song "Forgiveness" is one of my favorite songs. And I ended up getting Rachel to come back, and we worked it out. It was a little bit of tension and evil spirits on both sides, and we just we got surrendered, and we got to really get to a rock bottom where we got to see each other's brokenness, and the pain, in the past, and the struggles, and we kind of started dating all over again, not spending the night together. And then after about 4 months, we got re-engaged, and we lost a lot of money on our first engagement, but we got married in Grafton, Illinois, got married at Restoration Church, and many of you have heard about it or been there. And when I read my vows, I read them on my hands and knees, because I knew that without God, we wouldn't have this relationship, and we wouldn't have the family we have today, and I wouldn't have the success I have today. And it's been great. It's been hard. It's been challenging. But Cutco has been a huge part of that, right? It's been how I met Rachel. It's been how I met many of you customers. It's been how I've been able to give, cheerfully give, And a commitment I made when I gave that watch is I'm going to give 10% off the top. And before I would withhold all my money because it was my money, right? My profits. And it's crazy because every time I give and write out a check to church, some of them are big in the thousands, And I always get excited because I know it's going to touch more people, and that means God's going to provide me with more customers to sell Cutco to. So to fast forward, we got engaged. We got Lincoln in 2015. Didn't sleep for 16 months, so that's probably why my posture is really bad, but the wellness mats definitely helped out with that. Then we had a miscarriage, which was a hard thing to go through, which all of us have been through some struggles and trials. And then beautiful Duke came. And then a couple years later, beautiful Huck came. And now we're trying for number 4, right? So, but as far as the topic of this conversation goes, I've been able to achieve a lot of cool things with Cutco. So if you're on this message because you want to learn more about Cutco, there's this thing called a Hall of Fame ring. And when you sell $1 million in your career, you get this really cool ring with diamonds and all the cool stuff. And I put on some dad weight, so it doesn't really fit me that well anymore. So I don't really wear it. It's a cool thing, and it's a great achievement. But they give you this ring that is pretty cool and bling bling. And the reason why I don't wear it is doesn't fit, and I try not to be as bling bling as I need to be. And then in 2012, when I came back that year, I forgot to tell you I did win the #1 rep ever in my category. So that was pretty cool achievement. And then a Hall of Fame trophy, and then the sword. So to fast forward to where we are today, every year I made a commitment to grow my business by being the most fun, faith-driven, family-driven, but rep that gives the best deals and the best service, because I don't want to go to bed and know that I could have gave someone a better deal. And a long time ago, I would sell at full price, but I would get emails from people saying, why didn't you give me a better deal? I saw it cheaper on Cutco's website, or I saw it cheaper somewhere else. And I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to max out the deal, whether it's through free stuff or a rock bottom price, because I want people to know I'm the guy. I'm the person that's going to always take care of you. I'm going to always be there for you, and I'm never going to let you down. So through my journey, I was able to grow from 200 to 300 to 400 to 500,000, 600,000. And then 2 years ago in 2019, I sold $700,000. And this is just all by me with your help, guys. And that's through 19,000 customers now. And then COVID hit last year, and all of our shows canceled. And it was crazy, because for the first few weeks, I'm like, what am I going to do? I actually considered going back to management. And I said, well, I'm going to do crazy videos on Facebook and give away more Cutco than anybody in Cutco. And we started my group, My Knife Guy, started giving away Cutco and deals, and we've probably given away close to $20,000 since COVID. And the crazy thing is our deals are about 25 to 35 to 40% maxed out. And last year, the original goal was 800,000 last year, but with COVID, you lost all your business, right? Because all the shows and the fairs canceled. But I was still able to manage 620,000, and I did 2,200 orders, or 2,020 orders for 20. The goal was 2020 orders, and I helped 2 people in St. Louis win a Rolex, the Nate and Michael, which were managers that are 25, 26, 27. And I felt so called and achieved by that. And I told Rachel, I said, I'm going to get a Rolex when I either achieve something great or $1 million. And she said, well, if you get another one, you can't give it away. And I said, well, if God calls me to, I might. But last year, because I achieved through the craziness of COVID, and I met many of you, and I've serviced many of you, I took some money from some of my savings and investments and some of the blessings and gifts, and I ended up buying one last year, not because it's an idol, because it's an achievement, through COVID to do that. And I had it engraved. I don't know if you can see it, but it says Vector 2020. And my original goal was to sell $1 million. And then we get to this year, and this year has been doorbusters. Everybody's been going crazy and supporting me and Cutco, and that's across the whole company. And the original goal was 750,000. I was playing conservative because we got 3 kids, and I didn't know all the shows would, be so good. And now we're at 825,000. And I've always wanted to sell $1 million. My original goal was by 2023. So here's where I'm at. I'm at 825,000. The goal is to sell $1 million worth of Cutco. I'm $175,000 away. And the reason, there is really no reason. The reason is I want to help people get a great deal. I want to serve my family. I want to honor God. I want to make people laugh and smile and achieve something that only 4 people ever in the history of Cutco have ever done. So if you're a customer and you've supported me through my 17 years, I forgot to show you this. They did a big article on me in the big paper here in St. Louis called The Mover and Shaker. And for a few days, I felt famous. And Alice Heidemann, you did a beautiful job on this. And if you want to see the link, I'll share that. But I want to achieve this for a few reasons. We're in a world where people are fearful. They're fearful of the virus. They're fearful of their family. They're fearful of politics. But I want to be the light. I want to show people you can have fun. You can work hard. You can have a family. You can honor God. You can give. You can love people of the opposite aisle. I have Christian friends, Muslim friends. I have Jewish friends. I have black friends, white friends, Hispanic friends, Asian friends, gay friends. I mean, I just want people to know that they're loved. Cutco is a game changer. If you use a Cutco and you don't love it, your believer meter is broken. And if you just joining me, I said my blood type is Cutco positive. And I just want people to know that there is people out there that could achieve things by honoring faith, family, fun, and deals. And for all of you that have been a part of it, or maybe you're on the fence and you've seen me, you've watched me post, you've debated of clicking a notification and getting rid of me, but I'm asking you to step it up, show me what's possible. God willing, you're going to open up doors, God, that I never even thought was possible. But we got 175,000 to go. I really feel it's the final achievement in my Cutco mission and journey. Doesn't mean I will retire next year, but if we do this, I can truly say I've accomplished pretty much everything that you can accomplish selling Cutco. And think about that, one human being selling $1 million worth of Cutco. And that's with 25 to average. The average I calculate is about a 30% off discount with free stuff for money off. So I love you all. I appreciate you all. I love my family, my parents, my sisters, my wife, my kids, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my customers, my pastor, my best friends, my old friends, and my haters, the people that hate or negative Nancy's or dream killers. I love you too, because you're the ones that give me the motivation. And I'm looking at myself without my beard, but I guess this is the original Cutco Mike here without the beard. And I just want you all to know, thank you for being a part of the journey. I know this video is long-winded, but it is the story of me. I started from nothing. I'm going to leave as nothing, right? We all leave as nothing. We come as ash, we leave as ash. But while I'm on this earth, I want to be honoring God, faith, family, and fun, and doing that while selling Cutco. And I really feel we'll get there. I don't know how, I don't know when, but my year normally ends on December 23rd because I want to be present for the holidays. So if you can help me get there by December 23rd, that's my last day at the mall. I'm going to be working some days at the mall, doing deals all the way up to the 23rd. DJ, you'll probably show up at the mall. I think our Vector Cutco calendar goes to the 30th or 29th. So I do try not to work the days of Christmas and the days after. So if all of you can step it up, support American made. All of our stuff is shipping in 2 to 4 weeks. It's not stuck on a ship somewhere. It's at a factory and only in New York. And thank you for being a part of my mission. Thank you for being a part of my journey. And obviously I'm going to keep blessing people, honoring, serving, loving, and your money will impact more things than just buying Cutco. So hats off to all of you. God bless, and thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you all, and love you all. Thank you for just being a part of my story. Thank you for putting up with all my comments, posts, questions, and seeing me for just who I am, somebody who loves Cutco, loves my family, loves selling, and I can't wait to do a live video on December 23rd, leaving the mall, and I really appreciate you guys. I seriously do, and it's not about the money. If you think I'm doing this for the money, you are messed up in the head, and you don't know me. You don't know my heart. It's about showing people what's possible, giving back, helping people with the world's finest product, loving your family through the crazy times, the broken times. We're all messed up. We're all sinners, but we can all love. And we can all use some more Cutco, right? So hats off to you, and I look forward to seeing what the next 9 weeks create. Take care, everybody. God bless.